Under the visual analysis, we understood how to draw a pie chart, then a histogram, and a scatter plot. Today, I'm going to take forward that understanding related to the scatter plot diagram to the correlation axis. Okay, is that clear? Is it clear? So I just reminded you what we discussed and what we are now about to discuss. Always we have to know where we are, isn't it? Then only we know where we need to go. අපි දන්නේ නැත්නම් අපි ඉන්නේ කොහෙද කියලා. ඒක කොහොමද අපි යන්නේ? අපේ destination. That's the gap time. Always try to understand what? Where we are. Then see where we need to go. And see how you can fill that gap. Some people try to go do different things, but they don't know where they are. What are their skills? What they need to, what kind of things that they have up to that time, right? What's your knowledge level, skill level? There is an equate, they don't. So that's why we have to know a kind of honest assessment about ourselves. Then only we can understand where you need to go. But be brutally honest about it. If your skills, knowledge is not enough, admit that I don't have required enough skill. Then what you need to do? Hold down and try? No. You perfectly unknown, skill knowledge, what you have to do? None. Study. There's enough ways that you can study, enough sources that you can study, enough modes of study. Now, those days there were very limited sources. There were very limited ways that we could get knowledge. But these days, you are living actually, you are living in a great time as to. It's an excellent time that you are living. So you have many sources that you can independently study anything that you want. But coming to lectures is important. Right. Because usually we need to be pushed. Isn't it? That's the human nature. We need to be pushed. That's very normal. Who is Philip Phelps? Philip Phelps here? My uncle? No. My brother? No. Philip Phelps is the greatest swimmer who is winning medals or medals, Olympic medals for swimming. Right? My question is, does he need a mentor? Does he need a coach who will push him? He's the greatest swimmer. Does he need to be pushed? Yes. He pays millions of dollars right to coach. And in fact, he has several coaches. Why? To push him. Then set streams that he could follow. That's why we have coaches. That's why we have teachers. That's why we have parents. To push you beyond your limits. So you can realize your limits. That's why coming to lectures is important. Isn't it? Coming to lectures is important. So I'm going to push you for higher what? Get more knowledge. To have a positive attitude, as well as to inculcate a growth mind. So that's why we need mentors in our life, teachers in our life, parents indeed in our life. They are greatest mentors. But the thing is, what we see sometimes the students, they are very skilled, very knowledgeable, but they are not motivated. So that's where parents come, that's where teachers come, mentors come, coaches come. Behind all these great athletes, there is a coach who will push them beyond their limits. So they could win what? Win the gold medal. Olympic gold, not just gold medals, Olympic gold. So in your life also, you need to achieve what? Gold medals. Be but ultra successful, not just successful. You have to be ultra successful. For that, coming to the lectures on time, taking part actively, and engaging in discussion is important. Getting late, and of course, I know that we have some kind of weather condition today. You move the bar, Charles, not from one and two after that. This will be running and get the this time. But again, that kind of yeah. But winds will come and go. Rain would rain and will rain. So, but our lives are going to be stuck in one place. Every day, pulang day, fire, with rain and other things, but we have to continue our life. We have to achieve what? Excellence in our life. It's not a choice. There's no option for it. If you choose the other way, a mediocre just to live a life, then I think in this ability, you're wasting your time. Exactly what we expect is our values to be what? Super purple. All of them. And you can, that's why you are choosing. But part of that, I came at 7:48. We are probably start at 8 to see no what I want. Better than I will know from her to get it. I will not get under weather conditions, they get far much more adverse weather conditions. With rain and also. But remember, don't allow anything or anyone to derail your trajectory. Weather conditions, anyone. Do not cancel with things in our everything is temporary, that's correct. But on the other hand, there's something somewhat permanency, right, in your lives that you need to be successful. Why? Why do you need to be successful? To contribute to the world. Unless you are successful, can you contribute to yourself? You can't. Can you contribute to your loved ones? You can't. Can you contribute to your family? No, you can't. Right? You will just someone, just hand to mouth kind of way. Someone else's slave. Don't think anyone here should be falling into that kind of thing. Work hard. And claim your what? Birthright. What's your birthright? Success. Not just success, ultra. That's your birthright. The birthright of all of them. But what I have seen is people don't put that effort. Success is not brought in a nice plate and given to you. Right? In a nice plate, it won't be yourself. Very plain. Particular ultra success, you have to claim it. But you won't be able to do it. Right. Okay. So some life advice. Some life advice. In fact, you are all working hard that I can see, but you work more hard. So you'll be able to achieve a lot of things in your life. Okay, let's go to your limits. You are welcome anytime. Don't worry, please come. I'll call out no time again. Yes. There's no short cuts on that. Okay, so please go to this web page. Okay, so we have completed these things. The introduction and descriptive text. After now, we have completed these two. Right. Any questions or what? No questions? No questions. Good. Right. So then let's go today. And we had an exercise as well. Thank you for the submissions that day. So, so these are in submissions. Isn't it? Nice session. Right. Today we shall go into correlation. You can see here, week 5. There's something called correlation. And you download the PowerPoint file as well as the data file. Please. Click download. Then can you finish? Open those files. Saturday practice kan ini ke kota mana? Tapi nggak udah buka sih. Kalau ini, kata kan sih sama kerja. Umum kita sama tempat apa? Ibu kira mana gitu? Kau ini kamu lari nggak? Nah. Dan bukan mana ini? Dan apa lagi gitu? Kata yang langsung dah kan? Online tuition bedanya? Misalnya, paling ada dulu nonton. Siapa? Bila di video. Let's open Please take down large bold letters, correlation analysis. So we are today going to start and another is known as the correlation. Correlation. We are going to start from the correlation. Today we discuss about correlation analysis and we'll see what's correlation analysis and how to perform correlation analysis using data. But first of all, I would like you to tell me what's a correlation analysis. Can you search and tell me what is a correlation analysis? Use whatever online sources that you use. What's a correlation? Can you check and tell me? Correlation. Why do you do it? What's the purpose of correlation? And it's also called a bivariate term. Why do we call it a bivariate term? What's a correlation? What's the purpose? First of all, is the purpose of doing a correlation? This all depends on what's the purpose. What's the purpose of doing a equation? What's the purpose of coming that? Okay. What's the purpose? Purpose of doing a correlation. Wave correlation is the clean of the customer. Right. Why do you do a correlation? Very good. And the correlation. Two variables. What's the correlation? So you are giving excellent answer. You are trying to look at what? The relationship, correlation, as the name says. The correlation. You are trying to look at the relationship between how many variables? Two variables. It is two variables. And that's why we call it a bivariate test. Why we call a bicycle a bicycle? Because it has two cycles. Both of the captions are being done, a bicycle a bicycle. Then why we call a correlation analysis a bivariate analysis? B-I-variate. Bivariate analysis. Why you call it a bivariate analysis? Because you look at the relationship between two variables. Bivariate. Bivariate. Because they look at the relationship between two variables. But on the other hand, we see that descriptive analysis was what? Correlation analysis is a bivariate analysis, and descriptive analysis is what? A univariate analysis. Univariate means you take one variable and you describe, for example, age. You take age and you describe it. For the age, you will calculate the mean value, median, mode, standard deviation, those kind of things. You take one variable. So that's why we call it a univariate analysis. A univariate analysis. So univariate analysis, you will take one variable and describe. The bivariate analysis, what you do is you take two variables and you look at the relationship. So these are two different kinds of analysis, right? Bivariate and univariate. Bivariate analysis, you take two variables, bivariate. Correlation is an example for bivariate analysis, right? Bivariate analysis and univariate analysis. So correlation analysis is a bivariate because it takes into consideration two variables. It looks at the association between two variables. And as you very correctly told, it will look at the direction of the relationship, the association, whether it's a positive direction or a negative direction. And also it will look at the strength of that relationship. There is a quite strength, if the strength is quite strong or not. Right? Whether the strength of the relationship is strong, whether it's strong relationship or a weak relationship. Likewise, it will be showing the relationship as well, right? Okay. Let's take an example. Now, let's say in a company, we have advertising expenditure, the advertising expense, and the sales revenue. Do you expect a relationship between those two variables? What advertising expenditure, advertising expense, and sales revenue? Do you expect when the advertising expenditure goes up, when you advertise more and more, what will happen to the sales revenue? It's supposed to go up, isn't it? If it is an effective advertising campaign, indeed. So you can see the two variables. What are the variables here? Advertising expenditure and sales revenue. Let me take another example that's close to your hearts. The number of hours that you study and the grades that you get, the marks that you get. Now, let's say for this subject, which is called package-based data analytics, you have to practice what? Data. Let's say the number of hours you practice. I'm taking 50 students out of it. Let's say there are 100 students. I'm going to take one variable. The number of hours they practice per week, what? Data. And then at the end, you are going to have an exam. You are going to get marks. So I'll take that as another variable. So what are the variables? Number of hours that you practice and the mark that you get. First, are those two variables? Yes. Are those related? Of course, yes. If you practice more, what will happen? You will get more marks. Practice makes perfect. So that's what I have seen in mind. Practice makes perfect. So here you are looking at the relationship or the association between two variables. You are looking at the association between two variables. The relationship or the association. So you are absolutely correct. I think I made myself clear. What's an association, right? What's a correlation analysis? What's an association? So that's why it says here, it's a bivariate analysis. It's a bivariate analysis. So you take two variables and it describes the relationship, the strength and the direction. The strength and the direction. So I go into earlier studies, you should have studied this correlation analysis, right? And you know that we calculate something called a correlation coefficient, which ranges from 1 to 1, minus 100 to plus 100, right? Minus 100 plus 1? No. We don't indicate correlation coefficients as minus 100 to plus 100 is what? Minus 1 to plus 1. Minus 1 means what? There's a perfectly negative correlation. The association is perfectly negative. Then we have a perfectly positive correlation, that's plus 1. If it is 0, there's no correlation. Right? So that's what we know up to now. Today I will teach you how to use data to compute the correlation coefficient and how to describe the correlation coefficients as well. So as you correctly told, it takes into consideration the strength and the direction of the association between two variables. That's correlation. Examples. I give you examples. Advertising expenditure and sales revenue. There also I have given, right? Sales. So the advertising expenditure is known as what? the independent variable. Advertising expenditure is what? The independent variable. The variable that has an impact over the other variable. The dependent variable is what? That depends on the other variable. Let's take that example I took about you. Number of hours that you study. The number of hours that you study for practice table. And then the marks that you get. What's the independent variable and what's the dependent variable? Number of hours is what? Independent. Because that's the variable that is impacting the other variable. Then what's the dependent variable? Marks that you get for this subject or any other subject. You study more, you get better grades. Right? People will say study smart, yes. You have to go all smart. You'll be studying smart, but the thing is you have to study. But there's no replacement for that. Study, study, and study. Okay. So I also, I think, explained to you what's the independent variable, what's an independent variable, and what's the dependent variable. Right? Advertising expenditure is the independent variable, and sales revenue is the dependent variable. Right? Okay. Let's go move forward. So then, I told you the correlation coefficient will be indicating what? Both the direction and the strength. Plus or minus. The direction can be plus or minus. Negative direction or positive direction. Right? So then, when you look at the correlation coefficient, I told you it can range from -1 to +1. Right? In between, you can have different slabs. Say, for example, the correlation ranges from, right, 0.01 to 0.2, we call it a very weak correlation. Then 0.2 to 0.4, it's a weak correlation. Then 0.4 to 0.6, it's a moderate correlation. Then 0.6 to 0.8, it's a strong correlation. Then 0.8 to 1, it's what called a very strong correlation. So likewise, depending on the correlation coefficient, whether plus or minus, this can be plus or it can be minus. Now, say for an example, my correlation came up to minus 0.65. Let's say when I did a correlation analysis, the correlation coefficient indicated what? Minus 0.65. How can we increase this? Minus 0.65. How much I give it? Minus 0.65 and what? There's a strong but negative correlation. Negative essence. Then I will get minus 0.55. Minus 0.55. How can I use the correlation? Minus 0.55. Well, there is a moderate negative. It can be positive as well as negative. That's what I'm trying to say. It can be always positive. Can be negative as well. Negative correlation. And so they are positive correlation as well. But these slabs are there. These slabs are there. In which you can have, right, 0 to 1 plus or minus, you can have different slabs. Very weak to very strong correlation. But we have to understand the difference between correlation and causation. There's a difference between those two. What? Correlation and causation. What's the difference? Correlation and causation. Yes. Come anytime. No problem. So therefore, that's all. You come anytime. There's no problem. Confident. That's what I want to do. And I know today we have some the condition in Sri Lanka. Last night, because talking as a character from Namparaka. You get it? Nearly. Now you have to understand the difference between causation and correlation. What's the difference between causation and correlation? It's not the same. Causation, the term comes. Causation, the term comes from the term cause and effect. causation की वचने नहीं cause and effect की cause and correlation just shows the association while causation shows the cause and effect. The cause and effect. Right. Let me give an example that you will try to understand, that you will be able to understand the difference between these two. Causation and cause. In America, Donald Trump, he did, right? He wanted to see, right? He did an experiment once, those days. The experiment he wanted to see whether skin color has something to do with mathematics. Skin color has to do with mathematics. Right. So what he did was, he took students now in America also. There's a national exam like advanced level, O levels. So the O levels, like exam that's parallel to that in America, what he did was, what he did, he recorded the skin color of the student. Skin color. Some people have, we call it the skin color, a nice name for that. What's that? Complexion. Some people are fair, some people are dark. Right? Yeah. So he recorded that. And the next column, he indicated what? He recorded what? The skin color, and then he recorded mathematics mark. Skin color and mathematics mark. Then he ran what? A correlation. Correlation analysis he ran. And he found out a correlation 0.85. What? 0.85. That shows if you are fair, you have higher mathematics ability. Look at the mathematics book. What are that? College. So I cannot, I'm not good at mathematics. Skin color something to do with mathematics, I believe. But it indicates, right? 0.85. 0.85. So he's about now to conclude what? Where are the skin color? Where are the complexion? Better mathematics. Big. Big. Skin color and mathematics. Mathematics. On episode, no, that's completely wrong. Actually, what's behind that? There's a third variable behind it. Not that the skin color has anything to do with the mathematics. There's a third variable behind that. What's that? The parents' affluence. What's that? The parents' income rate. What's that? In America, with all due respect to people like Barack Obama and Martin Luther King, who are blacks, right? We have, of course, blacks and whites in America. Right? Majority of the blacks are lazy guys. But of course, we have people like Barack Obama as well as Martin Luther King. There are excellent blacks as well who are working very hard, tirelessly for their families. But majority are really wasting their time on drugs and all other things that I don't want to take in power. They enjoy their lives. Single parents and they have kids and they don't have a count on that test. Relationships, unfortunate. So that's what they do. So, but on the other hand, generally, whites, except people like Trump and others, right? But whites are very sensible people, they work very hard. Right? So you can see down there's a big income disparity, right? blacks usually earn less than average, while whites make good money. Why? Because they work hard. That's a big deal. So what happens is blacks cannot send them to good schools, their kids to good schools. And they might even not know what the school is. So their kids go to poor schools or some underfacilitated, overcrowded places, which are poor schools. But whites are sending their kids for generally what? To best schools, private schools, paid schools, and they'll be giving them the best education possible. But these two sets of kids, they go to what? To one exam, one national exam. So naturally, who will get high marks? The black kids or the white kids? Huh? Naturally, on average, the white kids will be getting good marks. Why? Because they had the best grade. Why? Because of their skin color? No. Because what's their parenting? The parental income has an impact on the marks that the kids get. Not that the skin color is impacting what? The marks of the mathematics marks. So here what I'm trying to explain is correlation. Now already just was a correlation, 0.85. Correlation does not necessarily indicate causation, cause and effect. The real cause and effect was what? The parental income level on the mathematics. So therefore try to understand there's a difference between just correlation, which shows just an association between two variables. It can be random associations, as well as the causation, which establishes the real cause and effect. Real cause and effect. So is Trump correct? Wrong, as usual. Trump never did this study, but I just made it up. But with the study that was conducted, but right, it was kind of coming to a wrong conclusion. But that in color and mathematics, it has nothing to do with right. Let me take another example, another study that was done. So you have told me now, given the answer to that, what's the difference between correlation and causation? So correlation is not causation. Correlation is not causation. So let's take another example. Right. Correlation does not necessarily show causation. Correlation shows the association. Correlation just shows the association. But causation shows the cause and effect. This is the difference. There's an association and the cause and effect are two different things. Now let's take another example. Then another American study. Ice cream consumption and drowning deaths. Two variables were taken. What? One is ice cream consumption and the other one is drowning deaths. What's drowning deaths? People drown and they dead. I see that almost every month some unfortunate situation happens. People go to bathe on certain places and they die. But recently also I saw two sisters they died because of bathing the place that they were not supposed to bathe. Picture ಗೆದ್ದಲು ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೀಯ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನು move. At that time they go to a river and they try to bathe. Galle boat Galle don't bathe here. But they play. Lanka also නැති රටක් න තමයි. අර කිව්ලා මුහුදේ ගංගාවල they take a huge risk. So you down in that. So in America, what they did was ice cream consumption and dog in this. Get the got to date. So you can see ice cream consumption and dog in. So from 1972 to 2024, they took data. They took the number of ice cream consumption that they want to see post examining. And then we have the down. So what they did was, you got the data and they ran correlation analysis. The correlation indicated how much? 0.89 correlation. 0.89. So if you interpret that correlation coefficient, what that? 0.89 trigger what? A very strong positive correlation. It's not just strong correlation, it's a very strong correlation. A positive one. So now you are about to conclude what? Eating ice cream leads to drowning deaths. Is it? Ice cream can do this America. In America, is there swimming pools with ice cream that people jump and die? No. America swimming pools here or ice cream here. It is a kind of ඒක ඉස්සර ටිකක් තියෙන වැඩක් අම්පගේ නමුත් එච්චරම පිස්සු නෑ. කොහොමද මේ relationship explain එක? How can you explain the relationship? Ice cream consumption and drowning. Any hypothesis? I show you how it. There is a correlation, but no causation. There's a correlation, but no causation. Right? Why is that? Now here you have two variables. What are the two variables? One is ice cream consumption, and the other one is drowning. So actually, if you look very carefully, if you try to establish a relationship like this, is it correct? Okay. Can you establish a direct relationship like this? Does it make sense? No. Actually, there's a third way. We are talking about America, United States of America. There are 50 states. Right. So, actually, the difference is the third variable is there. We have a third variable called temperature. In America, we have clear seasons. We have a season called summer. Summer is extremely hot. Not like this here. Very hot. And so what they do is when there's hot weather, hot climate, what they do? They eat more ice cream. And in the meantime, they also use more water. They go to waterfalls, they go to sea, they go to rivers, and naturally what happens? The drowning death goes up. So when temperature goes up, T is the temperature. When temperature goes up, it impacts both the ice cream consumption as well as drowning. When temperature goes up, people consume more ice cream. Is it natural? Yes. And also, people use more water. So now you can see the relationship. Temperature is causing this variable, not that. Ice cream consumption is leading to drowning. This relationship is wrong. You cannot claim ice cream consumption is leading to drowning. Oh, keep it there. I think the screen is shared. Screen is shared and I think cover keep it there. Online cover කියන්නේ There are a lot of students, but no one knows that screen is not shared. Therefore, online students, you have to tell. Like, video material here. What about the photo that we share with? Okay, but never mind. So you can see the difference now. Ice cream consumption. Now I think all of you can see the screen. Ice cream consumption and down index. Right? There is no correlation. There is correlation, but no causation. Correlation is here, 0.89. But correlation is there, 0.89. But there is no causation. The real cause and effect comes from where? Temperature. Can you see that? Temperature is causing ice cream consumption to go up as well as down index to go. Not that, but ice cream consumption leads to down. That's causation. Cause and effect. Can you see cause and effect? No. There's no cause and effect. So that's why I was telling you there's a difference between just the association as well as cause and effect. Causation. In correlation analysis, you find out what? Just the association. It might or might not indicate what? Causation. Right? Correlation is coefficient that causation is Therefore, you have to really see, right, what's really taking place, how that relationship is there, post. Is that clear? So what I can tell you is there's a difference between correlation and causation. Correlation might not necessarily indicate causation. As the examples I told you, right? I give you two examples: skin color and mathematics marks. Right? When Trump did a study, it indicated 0.85 positive correlation. But does it mean that skin color has anything to do with mathematics marks? No, it's just an association he had found out. That association or the correlation does not necessarily indicate causation. The cause and effect was really established by what? The parental income. That's cause and effect. Here, next example, I took ground index and ice cream consumption. Ice cream consumption and ground index. The correlation indicates 0.89. Is supposed to be what? A very strong positive correlation. But again, that's just an association, not positive. Right? Because there was the third variable, temperature, that increased both, not that ice cream consumption led to ground index. So just understand there's a difference between what? Correlation and causation. Correlation might or might not indicate causation. Now, let's take that early example. The number of hours you practice data and the marks that you get for practice-based data. Is there a correlation as well as causation? Yes or no? Yes. Right. There you have a correlation that is also supported by a cause and effect. So therefore, correlation might or might not indicate causation. In certain examples, it is. In certain other examples, it might. Now let's take the most earliest example that I took. Let's say advertising expenditure and revenue. Sales rate. 0.75 correlation. So how you interpret that? Of course, there is a very strong correlation between what? Advertising expense and revenue. Is there a causation also there? Causation at the end? Yes. When you advertise more, the expenditure of course goes up and you get more sales. Right? So there's a causation answer. So therefore, what I'm trying to tell is correlation might or might not indicate causation. So you have to carefully see whether it's a real cause and effect is there or not. It might sometimes not be the case. I gave you two examples, which might not be the case, right? Both skin color and mathematics marks as well as ice cream consumption and down. So those have correlation, but no position. Is that clear? By the way, Trump never did that study. I just made it up fresh. But there was a study that was done not by Trump. But for me, Trump is a crazy guy, a crazy businessman. For me, Trump is a crazy businessman. Right. So then a picture of correlation. I told you that you can show the correlation, the relationship between two variables using a picture. Already I told you that. What's that? Last week, that's where we finished. You can show correlation using a picture. What's that picture known as? Scatter diagram or the dot diagram. Because it will have two axes, as I told you. In one axis, you will be showing the independent variable. The other axis, you will be showing the dependent variable. And you will show the relationship. Right? So, as I explained to you, a diagram will have two axes. A diagram will have two axes. X and Y. X is the horizontal axis and Y is the vertical axis, right? The horizontal and vertical axis. Then in x-axis, what you represent? The independent of the dependent variable. X-axis independent, independent, the dependent. Independent or dependent variable. That's it, right? Independent. So I call it I, independent variable. I. Then y-axis, I stands for independent variable, is the D. Now, for an example, I can have data. So let me show you data. So this I have given a picture of correlation. Now let's take this example. You have here two variables. What are two variables? You can see salary and employee satisfaction. Then you have salary and employee absence. Right? Can you see those variables? Let's take the first data set. Salary and employee satisfaction. So now you have two variables. Now if I want to graph this, like if I want to draw a graph for this, a scatter or a dot diagram, right? What I will put in the x-axis? What I will put in the x-axis? It's salary. Because it's independent. Then y-axis is what? And then we can draw a scatter diagram. Shall we draw? Right? Please take down a picture of correlation. A picture of correlation. Here, a picture of correlation. And then let's say scatter diagram. Picture of correlation. Picture of correlation. Picture of correlation. And say scatter or dot diagram. Scatter or dot diagram. Right. To draw this, first of all, you should have downloaded the salary height, salary absence and height file. Let's do that first. I think you have already done that. So please go to the links. And you can see under the file, there is a stated data file called salary static height. Can you please download that as well? Salary static height. Please download this file. Salary satisfied. Please download it and open it instead. So I have already downloaded it, so I'm going to open that instead. It's there. So I'm going to open it instead. It just open. So once you open the file, open a file in status. The best practice is what? Look at the contents. So you can go to command and type browse. BROWSE. See the content of that file and hit enter. Enter command. Then you can see the contents of this file. Can you see that? You can see the ID number of the employee. There are how many employees? 8 employees. 1 to 8. Then the salary in thousands are given. Then the satisfaction in Likert scale is given. And also the absenteeism is given and their height is also given. Salary and height relationship is there a relationship between salary and height? Extra this one is for the given. Use this one qualification to all parts. Security. Which is not found. What that? If you are tall, you should have what? A security job. If you are short, you will be getting what? A laborer. Nice way to give jobs, isn't it? Qualification on there. The value, into the value, look good. You don't need to see qualification, you can see what? All politicians are, for me, I have a lot of issues. I'm not affiliated with any political party. I'm a part in the I'm a floating vote. Whoever is doing good, that's my vote. Right? I'll be voting for that person. But this guy made a controversial statement. So is the height something to do with the job? So usually security guards are getting more salaries, so taller than you, getting more salary. Then getting salary. Wedding salary can want to look in your role. Two months. And after wedding salary can but we'll see. We'll see whether height has something to do with salary. But first of all, now let's draw a scatter plot between what? The salary and the satisfaction. So you can see there are two variables, salary and satisfaction is there. Right? Let's look at the relationship between these two, salary and satisfaction. Shall we do that? We do. Now for that, please close the data activity. Now remind me, how did I draw a scatter that? What was the draw? Without this bar. Is there what again? What was scatter? Graphs. Sure. You go to graphs, graphics, then what? Go to graphics and go here. The diagram, scatter plot. Now you are going to draw scatter plot diagram. You are going to go to what? Graphics. Then two-way graph. How many times? I know. Meters are confused. Graphics, two-way graph, scatter. Select click on this. You get this dialog. And then what you need to do is, you go to create. You got to create. You can see here, there's basic plots and its data has been already selected. Perfect, that's good. That's what we want. And now you can select what's the x variable and what's the y variable. X is always what? The independent. So I'm going to choose here what? What's the independent variable I will choose? Sir. What's the dependent variable I will choose? Sir. Salary and satisfaction. Then I would say accept over here. So this is the dialog box that we are having. So I'm going to say accept. Shall I never leave, right? Please take this down one by one. Then you can go home and practice. If not, you won't have any. So I'll say accept. And I'll say okay. So what kind of relationship you can see? You can see in the x-axis you have salary, in the y-axis you have satisfaction. What kind of relationship is there? When salary is going up, what happens to the satisfaction? It also goes up. So you can see it's in a straight line. These dots are falling under straight line. Right? When something is going up, it's also going up. When salary is going up, you can see satisfaction is also going up. So what kind of relationship you can see? What kind of relationship you are seeing? A positive relationship. A positive relationship is there. You can say positive relationship. Right. Now kind of draw a scatter diagram or a dot diagram between salary and absenteeism. Salary and absenteeism are another one. Can show me to draw salary and absenteeism. Now this salary, you can see here salary and satisfaction. I want you to draw salary and absenteeism. Salary and absenteeism. Our computer here. Draw. Salary and absenteeism. So, your candle working. Salary and absenteeism. How to draw salary and absenteeism? Can you draw the flag? Go to what? Graphics. Do the graphs. Scatter. Now, plot one is already there. So what I'm going to do is rather than drawing a new one, I'm going to edit. I'm going to edit it because it's already there. And here rather than satisfaction, I will say what? Absent. I edit it. And I'll select absent. Salary is the x variable and y variable is absent. I will say accept. So I use the edit part. But you should have already created one shot to edit. Then I will press OK. Now what kind of relationship? There's a negative relationship. Because when salary is going up, the absenteeism is going down. So there's a negative relationship. When salary is going up, this is going down. There's a negative relationship. Then shall we see the relationship between height and salary? When you look at height and salary, what's the independent variable? What do you think is the independent variable? Height and salary got the independent variable. Height and salary. Height is what? Maybe the independent variable. According to that politician was saying, height is forcing the salary. The job takes. Internal security, yeah. Follow me again. So again, I'm going to go and draw a diagram. How am I going to do a diagram? I'm going to go to graphics, two-way graphs, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to place, I'm going to edit it, edit, and here it's a scatter. That's correct. Now, what's the x variable? The x variable, height. That's supposed to be the independent variable, height. And what's the y variable? That. Because we are thinking that height forces or height impacts the salary, as the politician says. Height salary. And I will say accept, and I will say okay. Okay. What kind of relationship you guys? I don't see a relationship. This diagram, it's scattered. I don't see a relationship. I don't see a relationship. Likewise, you can draw scatter plot diagrams, scatter or dot diagrams, and you can see visually whether there's what a relationship or an association or not. That's what you can do. Okay, is that clear? That's visual depiction. Visually, relationship here. Then after the break, I teach you what? I teach you how to perform a correlation analysis using state. Then break correct. Abhi kya bata karo? Form the correlation analysis kara. Instead, step by step, I'll be teaching you that. Okay, right. Shall we take a break now? We'll take a break here. Okay. Please come back at 10:28 a.m. So, okay, students, welcome back. Shall we start? What So now, what is the topic that we are discussing? What are we doing? Communication. Right. Okay. On the coalition analysis, what do you do? You look at the association or the relationship between two variables. Association or the relationship between what? Two variables. We are looking at two variables and we are looking at the association. And now let's see, using a picture, the association. We can use a picture to show the association. What did we use? What diagram did we use for it? A scatter diagram. Scatter diagram. Or we call it also a dot line. So we understood by looking at the first picture. What was the first picture? What was the first picture? The relationship between what? Salary and satisfaction. So what kind of relationship did you see there? What kind of relationship did you see there? A positive one. Positive relationship. Then we drew another diagram between two. Another one type. Salary and access. What kind of relationship did we see there? A negative there. When salary was going up, the absenteeism was going up. Why that happen? Because people get motivated. And they get motivated, higher salaries, and they come over. Then we also checked salary and height. In fact, height and salary. What kind of relationship did we see there? Height and salary? We did not see a relationship. So I think the politician who claimed that height has something to do with the salary or the job status. I can be correct, isn't it? It's an unsecurity. If you are taller, you will get a security job. And if you are shorter, you will get a labor job. His data shows something else. That's why I encourage all politicians to what? Learn pattern-based data. Subject is all politicians. So, no, actually, these politicians and others should also be taught fast. Statistics and research. Those are life skills. It's very important for the life. Maybe the future that we have. Right. Okay. Now let's see how to compute the correlation coefficient. How to compute the correlation coefficient. Now, earlier what we did, we picked all the week of possibility. Picture cut to color, scatter for relationship. But now I'm going to teach you how to compute for the correlation coefficient. Right. So, please take a small topic, a soft topic. Please come. Please take a soft topic. Right. Estimating. And take a soft topic. Estimating. The correlation coefficient. The correlation coefficient. The correlation coefficient. Estimating the correlation coefficient. Estimating the correlation. Estimating the correlation coefficient. Then balance over the correlation coefficient के estimate करना. Let's see how to estimate the correlation coefficient. And I think so difficult it's easy. But you have to understand, I'm going to teach you a very important principle that you need to really understand. That's called the significance level and the confidence level. Let me teach you that after the results come. Right? You first see the results of the correlation coefficients, and after that, I'll teach you what it means. Okay. Because it's really important. Okay. Let's try to see that. So go to data where the file is open. We are using the people who came late. Don't worry. Right? Let's try to in the morning. So please use this file. Data session 3 salary set is height file. Download it and it's data. And that's what we are using. Now I'm going to teach you how to calculate the correlation coefficient. Correlation coefficient. And I'm going to teach you a very important point there that you have to understand. One and common level, that will be for your life. So I'm going to teach one of them. That will be important throughout the rest of the lecture. Now try to understand. I'm really worried today. I can see there's an attendance, but maybe recording is there. Might be able to learn it, but I encourage you to take part. Physically. Right. People who are joining from abroad are helpful, but of course, they also I encourage join real time, online real time. Then there's no harm. But some students, what they will try to do, they will say, oh, I'll watch the video. Would that ever happen? Would that ever? Right? Probably what happens is, my experience indicates it becomes a broken promise. We promise ourselves, we'll watch the video. But would we ever have that time to watch that? No. It will be a broken promise to ourselves. So therefore, the best practice is to either physically join or join online real time. So you get it. So now I'm going to teach you certain things that really will be very important. Particularly this confidence level and the significance level of the relation. With examples I will teach. So pay your maximum attention. So let me now show you how to calculate the correlation coefficient. Now what are the variables that we have? We have these variables. What are the variables? We have one salary. Then we have satisfaction. Then we have absenteeism. And also we have what? Also we have what? Height. These are the variables that we have. Now I'm going to show you how to compute the correlation coefficient among these. How to do the computation? Now you can take down these steps instead. So I'm going to enlarge the screen so you see it better. Right. First, open the data set that it says what? The height, average, right? This is the data set. Let me go to it. So please open the data set. So this is the data set. Data session 3, salary, status, and height data set. And once you open that, go to it. Then now go to statistics because we have to do computation. Statistics. Right? Now take down to the small arrow. Then say summaries, tables, and tests. Summaries, tables, statistics, summaries, tables, and tests. Then summary and descriptive statistics. Summary and descriptive statistics. Summary and descriptive statistics. Then go to this one. Variables. Variables. Right? Variables. Shall I tell it again? Shall I confirm again? Statistics, summary, tables and tests, summary and descriptive statistics. Then after that, you have to go here. Pairwise. What? Is it fine? Click on it. Then it gives the usual nice dialog box, always a dialog box to graphic. And you can see here you can specify the variables. So I'm going to take first the independent variables. What are the independent variables? You can go and select them. You can see salary is the independent variable. And then I will have satisfaction, absenteeism, and even height. I'll just select it. There's no order. You can select as you want. I just put these three variables. You can take pairs as well, but I'm going to take it all together. Salary, satisfaction, absenteeism, and height. Is it clear? Right. Then thereafter, you can see there are some options. What are the? It says print number of observations for the each entry. Print number of the observations for each entry. This is very important. Please don't forget to tick this. Print significant level. I need to see what's the significance level. Print number of observations for each entry. Then print significant levels for each entry. Print number of observations for each entry. Then print significant level for each entry. I'll tell you what are these. Don't forget. Look at the significance. Right? It's a very important thing to understand. Print number of observations, then print significant levels for each entry. Right. That's it. And I'll press OK. Shall I press OK? What I did was I selected salary, satisfaction, absenteeism, and height. There is no order. You select as you want. There's no problem. Because we are looking at pairwise correlations. And then I just take these two, print number of observations for each entry and print significant levels for each entry. That's fine. Now let me press OK. It comes a nice box. Nice box. Nice output. You can see the output. Now, if you want to copy this output into some other place, so you can select this. You can select this from here. Select the thing. And then you can right click there. And you can go and you can select copy as picture. If you want it as, or you can copy it as a table and put that to Excel. So I will just copy it as a picture because it's actually coming as the state output Excel. And the PowerPoint slideshow. And I can paste the picture. If you don't do that, no problem. I'm just going to explain. Yes. So let me enlarge it. Look at this. Can you see the diagram clear? Large bold letter is there. Now look at this diagram very carefully. This diagram indicates all the relationships that we are finding. Look at here. There's this diagonal. We can't have here. There's this diagonal that starts from salary, salary, which is 1. Salary and salary, which is 1. Then satisfaction and satisfaction, which is 1. We know in the same variable, it has a correlation of 1. It's the same way. Are we interested in that? No. So you have to ignore what? You have to ignore this. That's line, right? Salary, salary, satisfaction, satisfaction, and absence, absence, and height. This one, you have to just ignore. This line, you have to ignore. This diagonal, you have to ignore. This diagonal. Because it's the same thing. It's the same way now. For example, salary, salary is here. Right? Then we have satisfaction, satisfaction, it's there. So you are not interested in that, is it? That's why I will usually what I do. I'll cut this off. Because I don't need to interpret it. You don't need to cut it off, but again, that's not required. Then now let's take other one. Look at salary and satisfaction, which is this one. Salary and satisfaction. Let me enlarge it. So salary and satisfaction is this one. Here you have salary and you have satisfaction. Salary and satisfaction. You can see what's the relationship. You can see salary and satisfaction, what's the relationship? 1. Isn't it? 1 means what? The positive one. Can you interpret that as a? There's a very strong positive relationship between salary and satisfaction. Other than that, look at the next one. Salary and absenteeism. What's the relationship? -1. Can you see that? Salary and absenteeism has what? -. That's the next quote. Then salary and height. There's some kind of relationship there. That's good. Height and salary. It seems negative. But again, remember a very important principle that now I'm going to teach. Remember this friends. Even before looking at the correlation coefficient, you have to check another thing. Now you can see just after the correlation coefficient. Now say for example, salary and satisfaction, just after that, there is some value called 0.0000. Can you see that? Then in the next one also, salary and absenteeism, it should be, actually it is not 1, it should be 0.0000. Some reason it has come 1, but it should be 0.000. Then you can see salary and height, What's the value here? Surveillance height, what's the value here? 0.5669. What are these values? What are these values? This value, this value, and this value. What are these values? These are called significance levels. These are called significance levels. Then after that, we have number 8, because we have 8 observations. We have 8 observations, that's something else. But what's the significant levels which I have now underlined? 0, then again it should be not 1.0, it's 0, and then it should be height is 0.5669. What's that? Those are called significance levels or the probability. Now please put your maximum attention to understand what are things. I'm going to show you a small diagram. What's the significance level? Look at this diagram. You can see confidence level. First of all, let's try to understand. Confidence level indicates how confident are you that there's a real relationship. Same thing in our day-to-day language. Please try to understand it once for all. This explanation will carry over till regression analysis and even afterward. It's going to be extremely important. So understand this very well. Confidence level is how confident are you? It is related to the relationship. Confidence level. Now, say for example, in day-to-day language also we use this term confidence. How confident are you? Now let's say when your exams take place, the morning, let's say this is the exam hall. Just visualize. You are now with the package-based data analytics exam. Just visualize. You are just walking in. Then I'm going to be standing over there and I'm asking a student who I have often seen and who had come to the lectures. I'll ask that person, Huda, how confident are you about the exam? The student would say, I'm almost 100% confident that I'll get an A plus. And very confident that person will walk and sit on the allocated data. Then the second person comes. I have never seen that person. Online or offline. First of all, I say, Huda, this is an exam, and I think you are in the wrong place at the wrong time. Oh no, sir. I am one of your students. Today we have packet-based data. Here is I'm doing that subject. Okay, I have never seen you, but again, then I ask that person, how confident are you regarding the exam? I'm about 40% confident that I'll pass it, but not more than that. Right? Now, did you understand what's confidence level? So, would you like a higher confidence level or lower confidence level? Usually, higher the better. Now, the earliest student had what? 100% confidence. 100% confidence. The other student had only 40% or even less than that, that the person would even pass the exam. Okay? Same thing here. How confident are you that there is a real relationship? So you can see in statistics, you would have 3 levels of confidence. What are 3 levels? 90%, 95%, and 99%. Right? They all would be also expressed as fractions, like what? 0.9, 0.95, and 0.99. Okay. So would you like a higher confidence or a lower confidence? Would you prefer 95 or 90 or 99? 99, right? Either better. Higher confidence, it's better. But in statistics, it says at least you should have 95% confidence. At least you should have how much? 95% of confidence to say that there is a real relationship or a real impact. 95%, that's the accepted norm in statistics. Now comes the nice story. Now how we express the confidence levels. The same thing can be expressed using another term called significance levels. What? The significance level. Confidence and significance are the two sides of the same coin. You can see here, if confidence is 90%, what's the significance level? 10%. Because both together is 100%. So either you can express the things as the confidence level or the significance level. If the confidence level is 95%, what's the significance level? If the confidence level is 99%, what's the significance level? 1%. 99 and 1 is 100. So either you can express things as a confidence level or the significance level. Again, that also can be expressed as a fraction. 0.10 for 10%, then 0.05 for 5%, and 0.01 for 1%. Now one question to you. Would you like a higher significance level or a lower significance level? Higher or low? Higher or lower significance level? Lower. Why? Lower significance level means what? Higher confidence. Now, 1% significance level, what's the confidence level? 99% on the other hand. But on the other hand, if you have 10% significance level, what's your confidence level? Just 90% confidence. 10% significance is what? 90% confidence. But I told you, we require at least what's the confidence level that you require? 95% or more significant or confidence level. That means what? You should have less than 5% or 0.05 but significance level. Why? Then only you will have more than 95% what? Confidence. Did you understand it? So would you prefer a higher confidence level? Yes or no? Yes. On the other hand, would you prefer a higher significance level? No. A lower significance level less than 0.05. Is that clear? You have to be absolutely clear with this. This significance level is expressed as significance, or it's sometimes expressed as probability level. Some people call it P value, sig value, probability value. These are all same, which is the significance level. With the other side of confidence. So higher the confidence better, then lower the significance better. Lower the threshold. Is that clear? Keep that very well clear, because from here onwards, you have to understand this important principle. In your early statistics lectures, they did not teach this, but I am teaching this because from here onwards, it's going to be a critical factor. Significance and confidence. In statistical packages like Stata and SPSS, what they express is the significance level, not the confidence level. Packages will express significance level. In Stata, they show the significance level, which is called the P value or the probability value. It doesn't show the confidence level, show the significance. Right? Now let's go back. Now look at that. Salary and satisfaction. This value is the significance level. I told you. The second row indicates the significance level. Here it's making 0, right? I don't know for what reason, but this should be 0. 0.0000. Then this also 0.5669. That's the significance level, right? The other one is the number of observations. 8 observations are there. First, you have in a correlation analysis the correlation coefficient. What's the correlation coefficient? 1, -1, and -0.24. Those are called correlation coefficients. Then the second line indicates what? the significance level. The third line indicates the number of observations. Is that clear? Now comes the ninth part. Right? So, would you like to have this value significance level lesser or higher? Lesser. Less than 0.05. You would like to have it less than 0.05, right? Then you need to have more than 95% confidence. In statistical packages like Stata, what they indicate is not the confidence level here, it indicates the significance. So here it says salary and satisfaction, what's the significance level? 0.0000 something. And of course, there's a very tiny value for that. Is it good or bad? It's very good. It's even less than 0.05. Even is less than 0.01. Because it's what? 0.0000 and some small value. This is not indicated because it's even lesser than that. So in that case, your conclusion would be what? There is a very positive, there is a very strong, positive, significant relationship between salary and satisfaction. Then here I told you to make it 0. How about salary and absenteeism? It's again 0, right? That's one. Is it good? Yes. Here again you will say there's a very strong negative relationship, negative and significant relationship between salary and absence. But now comes the tricky part. Now look at here. Salary and height. What's the significance level? 0.56. We were expecting that to be less than what? 0.05. We were expecting to be less than 0.05. But here is 0.56. It's very above 0.05. So what about your confidence? You have very low confidence. Not even 90% confidence. In that case, what's your conclusion? The only conclusion is this. Since the sig value or the p value, here the significance value for p value is above 0.05, there is no systematic relationship between height and salary. No. Don't go and say that there is a weak negative relationship between height and salary. You have to say there's no significant relationship. Keep that very, very in mind. Only interpret the result if the significance level is less than 0.05. Please take down. It's so important, you have to mark that. Under correlation analysis, under correlation, under correlation. To establish under correlation analysis, to establish a meaningful real, to establish a meaningful and real, a meaningful and real relationship, the significance value should be less than 0.05. Within brackets indicate, within brackets tell more than 95% country. Within brackets say more than 95% country. Close brackets and put full stop. Did you get a point? To say that there is a real relationship, real meaningful relationship, the sig value should be what? Less than. For an example, we say for an example, for an example, for an example, the significance value, the significance value, the significance value, within brackets p value, within brackets p value, we also call it p value. The significance value, for an example, the significance value within brackets p value between salary and satisfaction, salary and satisfaction, salary and satisfaction is 0.000, is 0.000, comma, which is less than, which is less than 0.05. It is less than 0.05. This indicates that there's a very strong positive, real, positive, real, and meaningful relationship between salary and satisfaction. Salary and satisfaction. Salary and satisfaction. However, the significance value, on the relationship between height and salary, on the relationship between height and salary is 0.5669. 0.5669 is 0.5669, comma, which is well above, which is well above 0.05. It is well above 0.08. Yeah, full stop, right? Full stop. Therefore, it is concluded that there is no real systematic relationship between height and salary. Is it clear? There is no real systematic relationship between height and salary. Can you tell about that politician's claim? Secretary, we did not know. Is height something to do with salary or job state? What our conclusion is indicating. Look at the conclusion. What it says, there is no real systematic relationship between height and. So what you have tell the politician? You are wrong. There is no real systematic relationship between what? Height and size. But if you are told, okay, body value, but if you have more salary, your satisfaction is high, and increase the more guy's salary, then that's right. Right. You can see the first instance, it said what? Look at the first sentence you wrote. You say that salary and satisfaction has a significant relationship. Less than 0.05. This is less than 0.05. That means you have more than 95% confidence to say that there is a real systematic relationship between what? Salary and. Is that clear? So please keep this rule very well in mind. So from this point onwards, first look at what even before you look at the correlation coefficient, you have to look what? The significance. Look at the second row. Look at the second row and tell whether there is significant relationship or not. Is it? That you have to remember very, very well. When a monoc mother to the global on the level. Right. Okay. So that's the main learning point that you have to understand. So let's do some exercise. We don't do that. Secondly, first of all, treating the small. I'll create a small file and I'll ask you to.
Ada kuda din nanti kering. Jago berikan mana? Kita mau juga jangan berbuat. Yang itu lah, misalnya ini terdengar.
So give a repeat to a moment time. Do small adjustment and I should use the file. Yes, but the file like
Ang wala katino ni sa lamang kailan ano pa sa varian dalawa sila politik po hindi kasama yun so pati sila gigiti mainit na mag-newa siya. Gini juga, aduh, cara bermalu hati nona sana kawan. Ini nama hati. Sana kita boleh ya. Apa ini? Api.
So I created a new file that's more simpler.
Nanti kan.
Okay. So let's put this file into the LMS. Right. So let me put this file into week. One. I'm going to put this file to week 5.
Ini temen lagi ni.
It is known as session X.
Pasti mesti kita kita orang maring. Tiga minit.
Right. I will be able to get this file. Data session X, employee survey on perception. Please download it. Then beneath that file, try saying this. So this exercise. Please read the exercise, what it says. Opens data X, employee survey on perceptions DTA file and perform the correlation analysis between these variables. So age, total perceived stress, total optimism, and total life satisfaction. Open that file and these variables should be there. So let me show you these variables. Then let me go to data. This data you will see now that file. So if you open this file, you can see at the bottom of this variable list. Did you open that file? You have so now go to LMS. Go to LMS and under week 5, you see a new file called Stata Employee Survey on Perception. Did you locate that? Download it and open. Then the file will look like this. You can see in this file, you can see the variables. You have the age, the employee ID, the age, marital status, whether they have children or not. Likewise, there are several variables. This here you can see at the bottom you will see that there is total optimism, total positive effect, negative effect, life satisfaction, stress, and self-esteem. Can you see those? These are their perceptions related to their stress levels, related to their positive effect, negative effect, life satisfaction, etc. Now, what I want you to do is to use these variables at the bottom and check the correlation. If you got these things. Age variable, total perceived stress variable, total optimism level, and total life satisfaction variable. Can you check it? Can you check whether there is a correlation or not? And can you report the results? Did you understand the exam? Now, file it download, sir. Deep file it, file it, one no. Well, data session X, employee survey on perceptions. Download the download. Check correlation and scale. One of variables for the variables for the age, total perceived stress. You can discuss with each other, right? Please discuss with each other. Did you do the analysis? What kind of relationships are there? Well, computer idea on that. Okay, what kind of correlation is there? How about age and total life satisfaction? What kind of correlation is there? Age guy, total life satisfaction correlation. age and age, age and fertilization. Right? Now, if you are a scientist, first of all, before you do any kind of this analysis, you will come up with some assumptions. Assumptions. You have to assume things. Then only after that you will be going to test. So even before you do a correlation analysis, I suggest develop a set of assumptions. What are the set of assumptions? Have you ever heard the term hypothesis? Have you heard about hypothesis? Yes. What's a hypothesis? A hypothesis is an assumption. So I can develop a set of hypotheses like this. Right? Before even the analysis is done, I'll go to a new page and I'll have a new slide and I'll call it hypothesis. SCS because I'm going to have 4 hypotheses. H1. Hypothesis 1, you will write a hypothesis like this. H1. And you will write what? You will write age as a significant relationship. There is this is a hypothesis. There is a significant relationship between the age and total life satisfaction. The age. I call it H1. Then I develop H2. H2. I will call it like H2. The next one. I'll say total perceived stress. There is a significant relationship between stress, total perceived stress, and total. So this is the second one. More. I call this H2. Then H3. I call this like this. 3. Total optimism. I'll copy the same. There's a significant relation between total optimism and total life. And total life experience. Right. Likewise, I'll just generate 3 hypotheses. Age, total perceived stress, and total optimism. So you can see here, I'll say even before this, I think we look hypothesis. So these are three hypotheses. Right? Always we will develop hypothesis, indicate the independent and dependent variable. Here, what's the independent variable? In hypothesis 1, the independent variable is age. The dependent variable is life cycle. So age is an independent variable, and we have total life satisfaction, the dependent variable. The total perceived stress is the independent variable, and we have total life satisfaction, that's the dependent variable. Then total optimism is the independent variable, and your total life satisfaction is the dependent variable. So you have three independent variables: age, total perceived stress, and total optimism. So you are looking at whether there are relationships, and you assume that there are relationships. Hypotheses are what? Assumptions. Then you perform the correlation test, and you see whether there is a significant correlation or not. Right. So those are the usual way that you do it. If you are a scientist, you will be following these steps. Right. First, develop the assumption. You say that there is a relationship between age and total life satisfaction, between total perceived stress and total life satisfaction, and total optimism and total life satisfaction. Then afterwards, what you are going to do is you can see the H1 and H2 and H3, and then you are going to perform what? The correlation analysis. Shall we do the correlation analysis? How to do the correlation analysis? Very simple. So I will put a link right as well. How to perform the correlation? So what you do is you go to data. First data. And then what I will do? Data like you will do the correlation analysis. Or do that? Very simple. So you go to graphs, no? I'm going to go to graph? No. Statistics, summary, stable and test, summary and descriptive steps, and then you have to go to what? Pairwise. Pairwise. So you are going to go over here. Then, right, what I do is to make my life easy, I put the dependent variable at the end. There's no such requirement. What's the dependent variable here? In all cases, total life satisfaction. So what I do is I choose age. Then what? Total perceived stress, EP stress, and total optimism. These are three dependent variables. First, I got the three dependent variables, and then I will get the total life satisfaction. T life cycle. T life cycle. Right. Age, EP test, optim, and T life cycle. Why I put T life set at the end? It's easy after that to interpret. The last row will indicate the result. But if you choice, I will press OK. I forgot a very important thing. You should have done what? You should have done what? That is please again let's do. But then I did not tick those three important things. The pairwise correlation. And I should have ticked what? Print the number of observations. Oh, give me a current name. And then what? Print the significance level. and then press OK. Now it's on. Then you get this nice table. This table is there. I'm going to copy this entire table. And I'm going to put that copy as a picture. So now look at this and tell me what kind of relationship is there. Now, if I look at now this is what happens, right? Let me, okay, look at this. Now, if you look at the last row, look at the last row. Go to the last row, let's go to the correct slide. Now, if you look at the last row, it shows the relationship between age and total life satisfaction. Then TP stress and total life satisfaction. Then top tip and total life satisfaction. The last row indicates the result. Now look at the first graph. Age and total life satisfaction. What kind of relationship is there? We have 436 observations. Right? Age and total life satisfaction. Let me check. T life set. So let me choose it properly. So let me take it again. I think I choose the variable. Let me go again. Okay. And let me explain. Life set. So you will say statistics, summaries. We got pairwise correlation. Then here I have selected something else. I can select here. This one. D life. Total life statistic. Not written for there. So be careful to take the correct variable, right? Now it's done. So I'm going to copy this. Put result check. Copy pigments. And let me go to. Then let me now paste it. Okay, that's good. Now look at the result. I'm going to family. Right. Now look at it. Age and total life satisfaction. Can you see the result? It's 0.05. The correlation coefficient is 0.05. I'm going to interpret it. I'm going to interpret that result. Yes or no? No. Why? Why have to interpret that result? Because the sig value is well above 0.05. It's 0.222. So in that case, what's your conclusion? There is no real systematic relationship between age and total life satisfaction. Right? So what's your first hypothesis? Okay, following hypothesis. The first hypothesis was there is a relation between age and total life satisfaction. Can you accept that? Can you support this? You can't. So this hypothesis is not support. H1 is not support. So results indicate that there is no real systematic relation. Not support. So what I'll do is I'll duplicate this one. And I'll say it. I'll say not support. Not support. This hypothesis is not support. Results indicate that there is no systematic relationship between age and total life calcium. Right. Next one. Next one. Stress and life satisfaction. Is there a relationship? Is there a significant relationship? Yes. Why? Because you can see the sync value is less than 0.05. In that case, you can say that there is a meaningful relationship. So H2 is support. And you could conclude that there is a moderate negative relationship between stress and total life satisfaction. There is a moderate negative relationship between stress and total life. So I go there and I say it's support. The hypothesis is support. I say supported. I say supported. And I'll even write down there's a negative, there's significant. Less than 0.05, the significant, negative, moderate, relationship between total and total life. So we say that there is a significant negative moderate relationship between total perceived stress and total life. Right? Is that clear? Now let's see the third one. What's the third one? Third one is where you are looking at what? Total optimism and total life satisfaction. What do you see? Is there a relationship? Is there a significant relationship? Total optimism, yes. The peak value is less than 0.05. The profit value is less than 0.05. Again, you can see, but this time you have what? A positive or a negative one? A positive. Total optimism will be optimistic. Their life satisfaction goes up. That's what it says. So here you could conclude what? It's supported. Right? Here it's supported. So you can conclude there is what? A significant positive moderate relationship between total optimism and total life satisfaction. So I'll go here and I'll say for H3, I'll say it's support. It's support. I'll say it's supported. They're thinking a negative, not negative, yes, thinking a positive. Moderate relationship between total optimism and total acceptance. Let me put that focus so you'll see it much better. Supported means there's no systematic relation. What I got leave we'll write that term. Or you can write it. We got leave. Not supported. There's no clear relationship between A and total life. But one is not so. Not something like this. There is no systematic relationship between. Not supported. There is no systematic relationship between A and total asset value of employees. But other two hypotheses are support. Right? This and life satisfaction, this have a significant relationship, negative one. Right? Then between total optimism and total life satisfaction, there is a positive significant relationship. Even though the relationship is moderate. Right? Did you understand? So first what we did, we developed the hypothesis and did the test and we checked whether those have a significant positive or a negative or no relationship. Right? By doing the test. Once the test that we perform, formation. Is that clear? Okay. So under this exercise, that's what we did. So here these right. Can you check? Can you write the hypothesis for the last variable, which is what? Total ST. I want to see whether total ST has a significant relationship with total life cycle. Can you check that? Total ST with total life cycle. Can you do a hypothesis test? First, do what? Write the hypothesis. Write the hypothesis. There is a significant relationship between H4, it will be H4. Because this is the fourth hypothesis, H4. There is a significant relationship between total self-esteem and total life satisfaction. Total self-esteem and total self-esteem. Right? Then do what? Using this data, perform the correlation and see the relationship between what? Total self-esteem and total life satisfaction. And tell me whether the hypothesis is supported or not. H4. There is a significant relation between total self-esteem and total life cycle. H4. H4. There is a significant relationship between total self-esteem and total life cycle. Now do the correlation analysis and see whether you can support that particular assertion, hypothesis or not. Shall we do that together? Statistic. So now I'm going to select only two variables because others I checked. The last variable is self-esteem, and I'll then put the last variable total life satisfaction. Life cycle. And background. So what kind of relationship is there? What kind of relationship is there? Is the relationship significant? Yes. You can see the sig level is 0.0000. If a positive, then in that case you can interpret the correlation coefficient. What kind of correlation is there? There is a significant. So the hypothesis supports because it's significant. So what's your conclusion? Your conclusion is there is a significant positive, right? Real systematic positive relationship between or significant positive relationship between a moderate positive moderate relationship between what? Self-esteem and total life cycle. So you support that. So likewise, you can do different tests, right? And you can see whether there's a positive or a negative correlation. Okay. So I think that's enough for today. So I taught you today how to do a correlation analysis and conclude based on the hypothesis you developed before you do that. Right. Any questions? Is it clear? In fact, that's the end of this discussion. So what we'll do is now take attendance. Okay, let's get ready to take the attendance.
Misalnya, beli kayak betek kerangnya.
Okay, okay.